I'm Tom Johnson, Thomas Johnson Antique Furniture Restoration in Gorham, Maine. This is a really nice chest of drawers. It's Federal from about 1780 to 1800, that time period there. During a move, the feet over here were broken off and lost. We have no feet. So using those as a model and template, I need to reproduce the missing feet. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is remove this piece of molding. I have some broken blocks here, and clean this up and see exactly what I've got here. And you can see that the case is dovetailed together. I don't think I can pull these nails out. I think I'll clamp this into position and see if I can tap them back out. See if I got a block here that will fit this molding. Actually, this block looks pretty good. I just got to cut a little bit more away there, and I think it'll work fine. Although I'm anxious to start making the actual feet, I think I'm going to clean up these surfaces now, and then I'm going to mill up the pine that I need to replace these two pieces, and then I'll make the mahogany feet. Okay, the next step is to start making the actual feet. So I want to measure this width, rip my board to that width, and then thickness it down to the proper thickness. It's really hard to see exactly where the boards are joined together here. I think I'll put a piece of tape across there just to help me. Yeah, I think I'll call it 4 13/16. It's maybe just a skosh under that, but that's okay. I can always cut it back a little bit. Alright, now I want to see what my thickness is. I'm going to check it in a few different places. Generally speaking, it's about 13/16. The feet sit right on top of this molding, and they're the same width of this molding, which varies greatly. So the feet on this side need to be that thickness. The one in the front needs to be this thickness. The one in the front is 3/4. My thickness here in the back is 3/4. Maybe I'll make it a little heavier than 3/4 and then I'll adjust it later when I go to attach it. Before I start to cut the feet out of this board, I need to repair the molding that goes right up against the feet. I've got the piece of mahogany that I cut from this board, and I'll use it to scarf a piece on here. This is the broken part, and I need to plane this flat so I can glue a new piece of wood on it. I think what I'm going to do is clamp this straight edge down along the line that I want to plane to use as a guide. Now as I get close here, I'm just going to let the plane blade run right along that straight edge. May not be great for the blade, but I'll have to sharpen it. Just about there. I think I need to put a stronger clamp at this end. I'm going to use the hand screw clamp with sandpaper on the jaws. I'm even going to slip a piece of tri-folded sandpaper under here to keep that straight, to help keep that straight edge from slipping. Okay, so now I want to lay this against this piece of wood I have and figure out what part of this board I want to cut to glue on here. So I'm looking at this piece of wood that I thought I was going to use, and I really don't like it. It's got kind of crazy grain pattern, yet my piece of molding here, it's hard to tell, but it's got a fairly straight grain. So anyway, I found another piece of mahogany I have that's really nice and I think matches this a lot better. So I'm going to use this piece of mahogany instead of this one. Oh, that looks good. That's going to be a good joint, so I'll glue this up. Okay, let's see what it looks like. Alright, I can start cutting this down and figuring out how I'm going to shape it. It's always hard to know where to start first, but I'm looking at this. I think I can run this through the table saw and take off the back of this board. Okay, that's pretty good off the back here. Now I think I'll plane this down to level. Okay, that seems good and flat. Next thing I'll do is I'll cut off all this excess wood back to the table saw. Okay, so I still need to, I want to cut that little ridge there. I need to now get this new wood, I need to define that edge really perfectly with the bottom of this piece of molding. Well, you know, actually, lining my straight edge up here, I think that is good. That is level. I don't need to take any off of there. It can be really difficult to tell sometimes exactly what to do when you're looking at these odd shapes. But I think I'm going to try to make this little cut right here, this little ledge. I'm going to make that cut all the way through on the table saw. So I put my good insert into the table saw. I've clamped this piece of wood here so I have a really good edge to run against. Because I'm going to set this up, I'm just going to try to cut that little line right there. I'll try a piece of scrap wood first. I'm really close. I'm a little deep. I'll drop the blade just a skosh. That looks really good. I'll give it a try. Just on a side note here, when I was making that cut, I reached over the table saw blade. Generally speaking, you should never reach over the table saw blade. This was such a light cut, the blade is only that much above the surface, so it was better that I control this piece. That looks good. It almost looks like it could be deeper. At least now I've got this line defined. I'm wondering if I shouldn't just try planing that down by hand though, rather than on the table saw. Okay, I think I've gotten this little ledge as good as I'm going to get it. It's a little funky in here where the wood joins. I'll look at that again later. I think what I want to do now is carve out this cove. So I want to make a line. So that line should be this edge here at the top of that cove. Okay, I think I've got this pretty good now. It's always difficult to tell here where the wood joins, but I've got it good. I think I can do the rest with sandpaper. The next step will be to cut this 45. Looks pretty good. I think I just need to sand it from here out. Alright, I'm going to set the molding aside for now. I know I'm going to have some more work to do on it when I install it. But now I'll get back to making the actual feet. And this is the board I milled up. And I think I will clamp it right here where it goes against the existing feet, and I'll be able to trace it out. Okay, so I've got the feet roughed out, and I've got to position them so I can cut off the ends, and I realized I do have to get back to the molding because they sit on top of the molding. So I need to attach this, shape it a little bit more, and get that all in position so that I can then, proceed with the feet. So there's a ton of glue and stuff where the molding was. I got to scrape that off, and I think I'll run a piece of tape along here just to help me keep the scraper from hitting the sides. Okay, so now I'm ready to attach the molding. I'm going to glue it just in the first, say, quarter of it, and then nail the rest of it. That's to allow for wood movement. And then once that's set, I can get back to working on the feet. It's funny, I worked so hard at shaping my molding, trying to get it just right, and when I held it up to here, you can see how far off I am, but in a good way, because my molding is too big. So I'm going to attach this, and then I'll be able to plane down these elements till they match the molding in the front. So I think the next thing, because I've got to position my new feet with this molding, I think now's the time for me to go ahead and finish planing this down and shaping it to its finished dimension. I can see the shadow of where the old foot was, so I can position it right where it was. It's funny, even though I'm going to ultimately have to distress these to match the other legs, I've still got to sand them really well with 100. I got to get all the tool marks out of them. Okay, I've got all my pieces just clamped dry into position now, but before I glue anything, I'm going to make all the glue blocks that go around to support these pieces. Okay, I've got all the pieces made that I need. I'm ready to start gluing. I'm gonna glue these blocks, these little corner blocks later. I'm gonna glue the bracket feet and these blocks, which, by the way, these blocks, believe it or not, are the real feet of this cabinet. These blocks are what bear the weight of the cabinet. In other words, this looks like the foot, this bracket foot, but it's just glued to the molding. These blocks go directly to the bottom of the cabinet and the weight rests on them. In fact, the corner block over here was missing, which makes me think if the corner blocks over here were missing, that would explain why these feet broke off, because they really can't support the cabinet. I already hollowed that out to match that curve ahead of time. Okay, that's good. And you can see how I left these blocks slightly higher than these feet. I may take it down a little bit, but I want to make sure, especially this old one has a big metal glide on it. I may do the same here, but we need to make sure that the contact with the floor is on this post, not the feet. I'll just do these blocks now, just with a rub fit. Left the clamps on overnight. Okay, so I did some preliminary sanding before the glue up, but now I've got to sand them again with 100 and then 150, and then I'll have to distress them using the other feet as a guide on how to distress these, rounding over the corners and things like that. Now I can continue to shape this molding and figure out my transition here from the new piece of wood to the old, and I've got a lot of nails and cracks and stuff to fill in. Okay, so now I'm ready to stain it. I'm going to stain it with some walnut dye stain. But with the dye stain, I can let this set for just a few minutes and then come back and put more on. Now the next step is I'm going to stain it with some dark walnut oil stain. Now this side looks a little dark to me, so maybe I'll get some paint thinner and just wipe it off a little bit. So the stain is dried, so I will brush on a coat of shellac. Okay, I've let this first coat of shellac dry overnight. It looks really good. I won't know for sure about the color. I'm going to sand that and start putting some top coats on it. But first, I've got to turn this back over and stain all that new wood underneath. I've never had great luck being able to stain all this secondary wood, this pine, to look exactly like this old stuff, but I'll give it a try. I'm going to start with some thinned out perfect brown dye stain. Alright, I think that's
pretty good. Maybe that's all I need to do. I'll turn this back over. So I'm just going to spray some aerosol lacquer now on this. Just gloss, build up some coats. Okay, I've sprayed about maybe like 4 coats of lacquer on my touch-ups from the aerosol can. Now I'm going to sand with 320 and spray one final coat of satin. Okay, this looks great. I've just got to polish this up. Well, there you go. This is a really nice antique chest of drawers, and I made all new feet for it on the left side here. It looks pretty good.